Good afternoon, Tricia. How are you today?
Couldn't be better.
Delighted to hear that. Delighted to hear that, Tricia. Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Thanks very much for sharing your time this afternoon. Could we start, if you could tell me, please, a little about yourself and your business, please?
Yeah, certainly. Otzi Brew business I founded end of 2017 into 2018 to address the problem I was having with having too much caffeine in my system. I really love having coffee, but it was getting up to 7 cups a day, and it was just causing me terrible headaches. So I thought I need to find something else to address this, that I can still have this feeling of having a cool cup of coffee without any caffeine or coffee in it. So yeah, that was how Otzi Brew came about.
And so, what before Otzi Brew, what's been your journey in life and in work?
Well, I've been around the planet for a wee while, and people say, what experience have I in food and drink? And my answer to that is I've been eating and drinking for over 60 years, so I have a lot of experience in it. So we'll be here a long time if I went through my whole portfolio, but I grew up on a farm just outside of Carrickfergus, and and my father ran the farm and I helped him with it, and it was there I was introduced to mushrooms and well water and health and things like that, and so that got me really aware of the differences between things that grow natural and things that are over processed. And so I've always been sort of very much into nature and natural things and trying not to over process anything. So yeah, that was the start of that journey.
And where does the name, what's the origin of the name? It sounds slightly Germanic, perhaps, or what's the origin of the brand?
Oh, it's great you say that, because it is with the umlaut. People say, why have you got an umlaut there? Well, there's a very good reason in behind that. It's called Otzi Brew. I say Otzi Brew in Northern Ireland, but if you're in Europe, you'd be pronouncing it Otzi Brew. But two experienced hikers were walking across the Ötztal Alps, and they came across a frozen body coming out of the ground. So they thought, oh, it was about just over 30 years ago, 31 years ago, they found the body. And so they were thinking, oh, some poor unfortunate hiker from the year before. But when the body was excavated, it transpired he was 5,300 years old. And he was carrying medicinal mushrooms, said to be chaga, and a few other birch polypore on him. So as we use mushrooms in the products, this is a homage to Otzi, and we call him our ancient nutritionist. Yeah. So
what a great story. And tell me, what was the spark that led you? You mentioned that you were on up to 7 cups of coffee a day, but what was the actual spark that led you to launch the business?
Well, I could at this point tell you I got hit on the head by a pine cone, but would you believe me?
Well, potentially.
Well, no, basically, I was looking for. I got accepted into the Ulster Bank Hub. It was actually Entrepreneurial Spark Accelerator program, and it was for at that time with it was like an augmented reality device to help children learn about nutrition. Because there's a lot of obesity, and it's just an increasing problem. So I got accepted on to develop this idea, but it transpired it was going to be really, really expensive and really, complicated to do. So I have put that in the back burner. And then I think it was John Ferris at that time just said, well, you've got a lot of experience in food and drink. Why don't you move, do something in that area? So I was walking a lot underneath these kilometers, get hit in the head with the pine cone. So when I looked up, What's the meaning of a pine cone? It's that represents the pineal gland, which is a pineal gland that sits in behind, the back of our brain. They're just bigger than a pea, and it's being clogged up by a lot of toxins and things like that. So I thought, well, what helps clear this? And what helps clear this is chaga, the king of mushrooms, that came out on the top. And I was tying all of this in with the headaches I was getting, from putting too much caffeine in my system. So I thought, well, chaga is a fantastic thing to bring to the world. But basically, when I tried to bring it as a coffee alternative, it was only possible to bring it as a food supplement. And I realized it wasn't going to address the problem that people are having with putting too much caffeine in their system. So then I had the search continued, and that's where this was born. Then, the dandelion and burdock roots and the chicory and cordyceps roots.
Excellent. And what type of person or people would benefit most from Otzi brew? I'll get that right now.
Yeah, well, you've got it right now. I'll go back to Otzi brew because I'm. What sort of people benefit? Well, health conscious, worried well, millennials. Yeah, we've had customers from all age groups, but basically people are much more conscious of their health and they want to put the right thing in. So this dandelion, for example, is really good for helping detoxify the liver. And the chicory is great for the gut. So anyone who's wanting to make their, the gut healthier, they go for that one, and that's for the liver. So it's really targeting, certain areas of the body. A lot, and the food we do also mushroom supplements. We do lion's mane, that is targeting brain health, and the chaga, which targets immunity. So, but it really is the millennial bracket that's are most interested in it. But as I said, there's all sorts of people want this now.
And what would you say has been the most significant lesson that you've learned as a business owner thus far?
Oh gosh, where do you begin? There's a lesson a day. Try not to expand too quickly. Yeah, I could tell you a few stories about trying to expand too quickly, and every day is a challenge. Once what happened was I was approached by a newspaper saying, oh, this is a fantastic product, you should put this in, this would be great marketing exercise. And I think it cost £1,000 for this small ad, and I got one customer from it. So the customer acquisition of 1,000 per customer was like a big learning lesson. Be very careful how you in the beginning it's bootstrapping, you're bootstrapping all the time, you have to keep things really lean, but there's also a point where you've got to take the leap to grow. And with every growth there's growing pains, and there's issues that you come up with. And yeah, well, I might as well be absolutely honest and tell you what did happen. The truth is, I got accepted into Holland & Barrett and into 760 stores. And to that, I changed the recipe slightly. So from the pure ingredients, I also added in some organic date sugar and some, natural flavorings. Well, my original customers screamed at me, how could you do that? How could you add sugar, despite date sugar being high in fiber? But it was still seen as an evil thing to put in. So I learned that lesson, and it was a very costly lesson, probably a £50,000 lesson. But I feel I'm still standing, and it didn't put us off the cliff, and we're still going strong. So, yeah.
And what's currently motivating you and driving your passion for your business at the minute, Tricia?
Well, always from the beginning to the end, it'll be the customers. Because knowing, you know, the feedback that comes back to us saying how much it's really helped their balancer system, how much they sleep better without having the extra caffeine in their system. It's just, it's why I started the business, and it's why I exist, to help other people that have issues sleeping and have the issues with finding something that still gives them a really good feeling without the caffeine or the coffee in it. Brilliant, you know. The feedback really is great.
And in terms of, say, hypothetically, if it were possible and you could go back in time and speak to your 18-year-old self and dish out some advice, what would that advice sound like?
Don't go into business. Whatever you do, unless you want. No, what would that advice be? Well, I guess it would still be to follow your heart, be true to yourself, and look realistically at your strategy before you enter business, what it is you really want, you know, because you'll be tested for sure in many areas. It's brilliant for growth in all senses, you know. What would 18-year-old self, if an 18-year-old came to me and asked me some advice, I'd probably ask them to give me advice rather than me give them advice.
And look, as we look ahead now for the remainder of 2023 and beyond, you know, what are you most looking forward to? Either upcoming initiatives or opportunities? What are you most excited about in the future for Otzi Brew?
Well, I'm looking forward. I've got a meeting with Waitrose lined up, and I'm really looking forward to doing business with a company like that who align with our values in both sustainability and in health. I'm looking forward to expand with some other products that I'm about to launch as well. I'm really looking forward to bringing those to the market. And yeah, there's lots of things to look forward to. So yeah, they're the things that come to my mind, you know, off the top of my head. So yeah.
Well, you've certainly got my attention. You've pricked my conscience now. I think I drink too much coffee, so it certainly interests me. It sounds like a fantastic product with some great benefits. If somebody has listened to this and would like to reach out or try or get hold of some of your product, what's the best way to go about that?
Probably go on to Otzi Brew website, otzibrew.com, or Amazon as well if they want probably the free postage and the super quick service, you know. Yeah, both those. We are also in health food stores and things like that, but I would recommend those two.
Excellent. Well, Tricia McNeilly from Otzi Brew, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's been a terrific story, and I wish you all the success for the remainder of 2023 and beyond. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.